Okay, so let me see if they start popping in. Post the best question up here. Okay. Do this. Wait till they pop back in. All right, y'all. Okay. Maybe he'll come back. Let's see. Okay. We got 2 people over here. Or 1 now. Okay. Let me ask. Unknown, you back in here? The person that speaking. Yeah. Trina. I ain't gonna get into like too many details, but I'm gonna explain why. Because some people think you're just supposed to like expose everybody, and I don't think that's cool, right? Because everybody, everybody has, like I said, everybody has their own path they have to walk, their own level of growth that they're on, and everybody has issues and personal issues and struggles that they deal with. And he decided he wanted to do a video about the truth of homosexuality. The video that I did, well, when I watched him, if you watch his whole video, the main point he was bringing out was that the word homosexuality was not used in the original text, right? So that's what it was about. So if you weren't paying attention, it was like he was really talking about the language, although he added other stuff in there. But his main point was to bring out that, yeah, scriptures and versions that we read today, it says that, like one of the main ones in Leviticus, I think is Leviticus 18:22. I think it was Leviticus 18:22. Man shall not lay with a man as with a woman, right? Because it's an abominable thing. But what he was talking about to me, as I took the time and I had to pause it and rewind it a couple times, just kind of make sure I was understanding what he was trying to convey, because he did a lot of scripture references with the Hebrew and original language, and people who aren't familiar with it, it may have looked and sounded like a bunch of blah, blah, blah to them, right? So I can get and I can understand exactly what he was saying. And the points he brought out with the research, it was actually true, because truly the word homosexual is a fairly recent word, right? But I think it was although, listen, y'all hear me talk about it all the time, like technically what you said was true. Not what you said, the gist of everything, but what you're pointing out is that this word didn't even exist. That is true. That is a recent word from another language, and that's not the word that was used in the original text. That's what he was talking about, right? So that's the main thing that he was pointing on. But a lot of people, and the way he presented it, I get what he was trying to say, but the inflections of his voice and how he raised his voice, it showed me that more was at play. Because if you watch the video, he has friends and people he know, and he kind of talked about the LGBTQ community and people who live homosexual lifestyles and the suicide rates. And he brought all of that stuff out, which I understand and I know. And it's horrible that people treat people different ways because of the lifestyle that they choose, right? Now, although I personally necessarily do not condone a homosexual lifestyle, right? Because I know what the scripture says. And although technically what he was saying, that the word homosexual was not used in the original text, technically that is right. But the word that was used still indicated that sexual relations between the same sex is wrong, right? Yahuwah does not condone that. He said this should not be done among his people. He said these are things that the other nations practice, right? And so this goes back to what I say all the time, right? Although, and what he did, he pulled out a lot of the scriptures, and he even used the eunuchs and stuff like that. And if you got the time to watch it with unbiasedness, right? Just watch it through if you can, if you got the time, just to see what he was saying and what he was bringing out. And technically, the research he brought out, if you understand, if you go back and double check it, it's true. He may have a couple typos in there with one of the scriptures he was showing, and I actually showed him that. He was talking about a scripture in Deuteronomy, but he had Deuteronomy at the top. Then he listed the scripture, which was from Leviticus, but what he showed on the screen was clearly from the chapter in Deuteronomy. So that's wrong. So somebody may use it as an argument point, like, you said it was this, but it's clearly this. You're trying to lead us astray. I could clearly tell just by watching the whole thing and what he was saying, I could tell that was a typo. But I let him know, here's a typo, but I could clearly tell because he put it, the scriptures 22 all the way to 27 was specifically from Deuteronomy, that particular chapter. And that's what he showed on the screen. It was just because he was going back and forth between Leviticus and Deuteronomy. It was a typo, right? He had the chapter and the verses right, but he just put Leviticus instead of Deuteronomy. But anybody, that's not a big thing. It's a typo. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Natasha. Hey, I ain't seen you in a while. Look, your reception must be good. Yeah. Yes. Natasha just popped in. I know because you follow Truth Unveiled. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Somebody asked a question. I had to end the other video because it started buffering and stuff. But he asked me a question. He asked me about why I never exposed him, but I told him I'm not into exposing people, right? I'm into exposing lies and bringing out the truth. So my video just kind of shortened this up a little bit because I know my phone is about to die from Facebook. Guys, if it died and I'm still running my mouth, just hop over to the YouTube link, right? Hop on over to YouTube. Matter of fact, let me just, hold on, copy. I'll post I don't even think I can do it here. Okay, here's the link, just in case. Ooh, it won't let me do it. Okay, but what the video that I did, I didn't come down on him or anything, or what he believed, or tell him, oh, this is wrong and you can go to hell, and yes, homosexuality is a sin, which I seen a lot of people doing that after they saw his video. I'm like, ooh, let me go back and watch this, because I'm like, let me watch it unbiased and just go through and see exactly what he was saying, right? So after you watch it, there is no doubt that what he is what his research was conveying to you was true, but the tones and inflection and what he was saying, it also was saying that he doesn't, let me not put words in his mouth. Here's where it was like kind of like not scratchy, but what he was saying was that he was likening eunuchs. He was talking about the 144,000 virgins, which I had to explain that this was not talking about actual sexual intercourse and people who have actually had sex or not had sex. The 144,000 virgins, that referred to actually Israel, men and women, just like he refers to Israel as his bride in female form, but we clearly know Israel is comprised of men and women, just like the 144,000 virgins. It's comprised of men and women of Israel, and it wasn't actually talking about sex. It was talking about being defiled by the doctrines and the ways of the other nations, right? That's why he calls Israel his virgin daughter, right? So the 144,000 virgins are those who keep to Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands, who have not been defiled, tainted with the whore, right? With the great whore, the teachings of the great whore, who have drinking the wine of Babylon and the other pagan nations, turning them away from their one true lover, Yahuwah himself, right? So that's what that's talking about. So that's what I did. Instead of harping on some of the other things, I decided to give him information that he may not be missing it, but in the video he didn't present it. So I would just have to assume that he didn't know or didn't understand, or he's missing the information. So instead of harping on some of this, I said, if you understood this, this will automatically correct this. So instead of arguing about this, the whole homosexual thing, and if it's true or if it's wrong or if it's right or if eunuchs are homosexual, this, let's correct this right here so you understand what this is, right? Your understanding of the 144,000 virgins, what that means, and that can be proven from the beginning to the end as Yahuwah is constantly talking about it. We clearly understand that it's not talking about virgin men, neither are these 144,000 men homosexuals, right? People who are drawn to the same sex but haven't necessarily committed the act, because that's what it was kind of saying as I was listening to him, right? Because he brought out a point. I'm not going to say it's a point. A point he was making was that the 144,000 virgins are eunuchs from birth. But his whole understanding of eunuchs from birth, he just kind of, to me, just kind of put some stuff together that didn't quite make sense based on truth that I understand and what eunuchs really are, right? Eunuchs can be eunuchs in a couple different ways. You can be a eunuch and you can choose to abstain from sex, but the definition of a true eunuch is someone who has been castrated, right? You no longer have your male parts. And he explained that. But where he went wrong at is talking about what eunuchs from birth were. And that's when he started bringing in a whole portion about, he brought in some stuff about being men who are labeled effeminate or whatever. And just because they may be attracted to the same sex, they may not have acted it out, and because they didn't act it out or whatever, not that all of them like that are the 144,000, but some of the 144,000 are that type of category of men. And I cannot agree with that, right? Anybody who is a part of the 144,000, first of all, would not be tainted. You could have been previously, but if you were a part of the 144,000 at that point of being labeled that by Yah, you would have been delivered of all of these things, right? Meaning, remember, 144,000 virgins are untainted by the other nations. They are untainted, not tainted by the practices and the doctrines of the other pagan nations. They keep only to Yah's commands. And Yah says that I created man for a woman and woman for a man. Nature even teaches that. If Yahuwah wanted you to receive, he would have made you a woman. If he wanted you to give, he would have made you a man. That is proven when we are given birth, right? Yahuwah doesn't give you a male body and give you a female spirit. Neither does he give you a female body and give you a male spirit. That goes against his whole modus operandi, how he operates. You can look at it in nature and prove that it is true. Everything that we base things on, we build things on, is off of his model, where the people choose to give him glory and identify him as the original creator of such things or not, right? And that's the proper, healthy way of thinking. So that's it. The guy or girl, I'm not sure, their picture is just unknown. And his question was, and you'll see that on the other video that I ended from this morning. The first one, he said, how come you never exposed Truth Unveiled? And the second one, he was referring to the video that Truth Unveiled did. He said the whole video was a satanic lie. He's trying to extinct human beings, Yah's creation. Now, I want to talk about that a little bit. What he said what the person, just his comment, it can seem kind of harsh, right? Can't be. I'm not in a habit of, no matter what you're doing in life, I'm not in a habit of beating you down because you have a problem that you can't control right now, right? Some people think you're born that way. I don't believe that. Some people do. That's where you're at this point in time in life. Okay, that may change as you grow. It probably will change as you grow. But like I said, I wanted to point out some things, like I said, that he may have not known. And being a eunuch from birth, that is, like I explained in the other video, that is actually a physical condition. You can literally be a eunuch from birth, right? It's called penile agenesis and testicular agenesis, meaning that your penis, the penis agenesis, your penis didn't fully develop. And what happens is it doesn't come out like a normal penis would, where it's outside. It actually just kind of stays in, and the urethra is actually down by the butt. So you would actually have to sit down like a woman to pee. You would still be able to pee. You just don't have your penis fully developed where you should pee appropriately, like a man whose penis is fully developed is. That is a true condition. Same thing with the testes. They don't fully develop, but that is a real live physical condition in males, which it literally makes them eunuchs from birth. They are literally born that way. As for people who are being who say being a homosexual, that's something you can actually be born that way. It goes against the order of nature. It's impossible. You can look at the different species of plants, even in the animal kingdom. It doesn't happen. It's impossible. Like I said, we don't control any of these things, right? When Yahuwah set up, he set up the whole order of everything, right? We control none of that. We don't give ourselves our spirits. We don't give ourselves our bodies. He causes that to happen. And once we're in possession of it, when we're born, we just kind of have to operate the machinery according to manual, right? And sometimes it's not taught. Sometimes it's not common sense to most people, because some things that are common sense to us may not be so common to other people, depending on how they grew up, their surroundings, their atmosphere. You see what I'm saying? So some people can grow up thinking, oh, you're born this way. If you grow up in an atmosphere where this is a common thing, so your outlook on life and what things are supposed to be are going to be different from somebody else who's grown up in a different type of environment, right? And that can be proven with anything, with any race of people in a group. There are different experiments that have that same premises that can show you that this principle is literally your environment that you grew up in, right? And so he kind of got into some of the other things about how people feel inside and growing up, not being able to come out and be who they truly are and stuff. And talking about how some people is because of some trauma that they had in life, which caused them to be that way or made them to be that way. But some people just always felt this way from birth. It goes against the natural order of things. And those people that say that, I cannot negate their feelings. There is a reason why they feel that way. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not Yah. But I understand Yah's natural way of his course of life and things that he has set in order appropriately, right? And you can tell, you can simply test that principle. I'm not going to argue with you and say that your feelings are wrong, because those are your feelings and you feel that way. And I feel bad for people who have caught the short end of the stick, because they've run into human beings who have no couth, no honor about themselves whatsoever, and they live to terrorize other people. That should not be, right? Because we all have things and issues that we deal with. You know, one of my issues I dealt with was food addiction. Some people may be addicted to crack. Some people are addicted to sex. Some people are addicted to porn. It's people have issues with different things. It doesn't make you better because your addiction is not crack, but your addiction is food. It's gonna lead you both to the grave. You keep on with it long enough. You see what I'm saying? Right? But you can simply test principles, right? Everything that Yahuwah has created, he creates with a purpose, right? And you can take something that was designed for one thing, and sure, you can use it to do something else. That doesn't mean that you're using it appropriately. I can take a fork. A fork was designed for us to eat our food. I could take that same fork and I can use it to stab you in your hand, right? I could use it for that. I really could, but it doesn't make it the proper use of why it was created. I can use it for whatever I want to do, right? I could take a knife and stick it into a socket. That doesn't mean that it's the proper use of it. Yes, I can do that. I can use it to unscrew a flathead, but that's not the proper use of that. There is a tool designed for that, just like male and female. A man can take his penis and stick it into the butt of another man, but it doesn't make it correct. Matter of fact, you can stick it into the butt of a woman. It may feel good, but that's not why either of those were created. Because the outcome of, you can look at the consequences of doing something and tell, yes, this is right, or uh no, this is wrong. And it doesn't matter whether a man is doing it to a man or a man is doing it to a woman. You're not supposed to do it to either of them. It doesn't matter if it's a male being with a woman and sticking his penis into the butt of a woman is wrong. How do we know it's wrong? Because the buttocks does not lubricate itself, right? You're gonna tear something up. Ask me how I know that. I know because somebody told me about it. Look, no. Listen, the penis was designed to go inside of the self-lubricating vagina, right? It lubricates all by itself. You who designed it to be that way, right? Everything has a proper purpose, right? And when the penis is inserted into the vagina, they go on to climax. The semen that comes out of the male's penis goes into the woman, travels up through the cervix, fallopian tubes, into the ovaries, creates a baby. And if you use your penis to insert it from the other end, what becomes of that? Nothing. No life comes of that. You actually get problems. Like I said, you can rip up stuff because there's no lubrication. You can use other lubrication, Vaseline, actual lubrication that they make for sex acts. All you can use that, and it can feel good for a moment, but the person who's on the receiving end of that is going to start experiencing some health problems. If it was natural and if it was okay for a man or a woman, then why do we start having health problems? Why did it start? Now the muscles that are in your butt to keep your cheeks tight, to keep you from passing gas all willy-nilly, now that's gone. You can't control that. It's a lot of things that begin to happen. So we can't, in all actuality, with good common sense and understanding, even if you want to go test, I'm not telling you should go test that, but I'm just telling you from previous research that this is unnatural. It's unnatural. So like I said, everything we can test, right? So you don't necessarily need to come down on people who are living that lifestyle. They know that's the lifestyle they live, right? When the sex act is created for the purpose of reproduction, and Yahuwah just happen to make it extremely enjoyable, right? And it should be. It's extremely enjoyable for all species of people. It's just the human race. We have intellect, and we have the ability to speak, and we have the ability to create such a awesome romantic atmosphere while we're going through this war and process of foreplay, and it makes it extremely enjoyable. It makes it extremely desirable. We have the ability to do that, but it doesn't mean we have free, we can do whatever the heck we want to do, right? But there's consequences to using things the wrong way. So that's my approach I take with those who live that lifestyle. Okay, that's what you choose to do, but in order for you to have children, if you want children, that type of relationship will not produce children for you. Either you're going to have to step outside of that lifestyle and you're going to actually have to do it the right way, or you're going to have to go to a clinic and have somebody insert sperm into you. Or if it's two men, you're going to have a woman carry the child. For one, you're going to have to get her pregnant, or you're going to have to go to the clinic. If you don't want to do it the natural way, you're going to have to give your sperm to the clinic. She's going to have to be there for the operation to take it. You're going to have to adopt. You're going to have to, you see what I'm saying? So we can just look at those things and see, okay, let's actually sit here and look at this before arguing. People, just do your own diligent research. Okay, this is this. Okay, so this is not natural. It ends in nothing. And so you can also look at it, if the world was full of couples that believe homosexuality was right. Say all the heterosexual people died out, right? Say there was nothing but homosexual couples on the earth. And how many generations would the earth be completely devoid of all human beings? First of all, that would be the last generation. There wouldn't be any more generations after that. So after everybody in that generation died out, That's it. There's no more reproduction. That's not natural. Yahuwah said, I come to give life and life more abundantly. So that's the approach I like to take. And I'm not sure if the guy, the girl, whoever the person with the tag unknown who posted the question on the last video, if you're still here. But that's my take on it, So I'm not going to come down on him because he might have some information that seems off to me. I really love Chris. I really do. I've learned so much from his channel. He's a really good researcher. He's very thorough, right? And I can tell he loves people. Facebook, my phone just died. And I can tell he loves people, but I can also tell that him doing that video, there are some hurts that he carries around. Like I said, I don't know his personal lifestyle, but I can tell in the way, in a few moments of his video, I can tell there are some hurts that he has experienced personally. And if he hasn't experienced them personally, there are people he loved that has gone through that. And you can tell, you can hear the hurt in his voice, right? What do I look like inflicting more pain on this brother, right? And sometimes pain and hurt can drive us to do some things that we in our right mind would never do, right? We would never think about some of these things, right? So just like we're patient with ourselves, we have to be patient with others in their growth process. So that's my response to you, unknown. If you're still here, you didn't make a comment here. I'm not even sure if you came back in, but I said I was going to answer your question. I answered it. You may come back later, but there it is, so that's how I feel about the whole thing, right? I didn't unsubscribe to him because he believes something that I don't necessarily believe. It doesn't change the fact that of all the good information he has, is just one of those things that he has to work out in himself, right? And we would do well to sometimes I hate saying this because sometimes I think it's overused. I'm gonna pray for you, brother, but seriously, like, pray for him. Pray that Yahuwah strengthens him and helps him and delivers him from some of the foolish people and some of the people who may have inflicted some disgusting things or said some disgusting things to him, and other people who live that lifestyle. They're human beings too. How would you like to be on the receiving end of something like that, right? That's horrible. And Yahuwah doesn't treat anybody that way. He tells us this is the way you operate this. If you don't operate it in this manner, this is going to happen. He don't keep, hey, I told you, no. He'll remind you of the right way to do it. But if you choose to go the wrong way, as long as you know these are the consequences for walking that way. Okay. Everybody knows that. People experience that. I don't need to remind you that this is going to lead you to death. I don't need to remind you of that. And a lot of people, sometimes when they get to that point right there on their deathbed, it's like, oh, shoot. Sometimes it's too late for some people, but sometimes some people really do need to hit rock bottom before their eyes are open to see, is there any other way? Is there any other way? Because clearly the paths I've been taking, it hasn't netted me life. Like, I'm on my deathbed, right? So that's my response to that. You'll never hear me say anything bad about Chris or his channel or anything. It's because I understand that, right? Okay. So that's it, y'all. I hadn't already ended the daily reading, but I promised I would answer that question because he asked, right? And so, but all right, y'all. That's it. I know I said it was going to be about 5 minutes, and this is like almost at 30 minutes. So, but that's it. All right, y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. And I'll title this my response to whatever, and I'll leave this up, So, but all right, y'all. Peace. Thanks, Natasha.